it's saving. I think the existing presidential office, Biden, he's not really doing a good job.
The time bomb is ticking to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C. What matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems.
He's not giving us secure borders. Obviously, you guys can see with the gas prices, it probably took you guys a little extra money to fill up the tank as you got here. No one wants that. And all the foreign policy things, everything that Trump had put into play, he's just completely wiped it out. So those are the main reasons. And we need more money in our pockets. I mean, it's a big thing.
It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation.
What made them do this? They must be taken off the street.
Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate 1 generation of students.
Following the Kent State massacre, in which the Ohio National Guard shot into a crowd of protesters, killing 4 students, over 760 campuses across the country shut down after a massive strike. Some students even voted for their schools to remain closed for a full semester to make their point heard.
Exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism.
No more pencils, no more books.
The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already.
These kids put the world on their backs as the movement spread globally, with over 880 marches taking place all across the U.S.
For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him.
Okay, there was something there. It looks like the left-wing media just buried the story because it wasn't part of their narrative, and that's why people don't trust the media.
I mean, that's it, right? In a nutshell?
Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand.
Under our forfeiture statutes, you can, the government can, take everything you own. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely what they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you've just got caught engaging in.
But not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization.
I mean, the fact is that these media outlets had no choice but to pivot, because there is a serious risk now of an indictment coming out of Delaware.
If you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years.
The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems.
It is a matter of policy in this war to kill dissidents, to kill those who caused problems for the occupation, and to impose a reign of terror across occupied territories.
And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast.
To march.
The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely.
But someone getting shot happens every day in all the neighborhoods. I mean, listen, man. They have neighborhoods in Chicago where 70, 80 people get killed in a year.
Along with a 21-year-old female, an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire as she was walking into a house with a friend. She was shot once in the arm.
People are getting shot every day who the bullets aren't intended for.
Movita Johnson Harold has lost 2 sons to gun violence, both unintended victims, including her oldest, Dante, just last March.
Both of her sons, unintended victims of gun violence. A neighborhood, not a city, a neighborhood. Yeah, 30 murders. Think about 30 people got murdered in your neighborhood in 1 year. The majority of them were young. And you'd be amazed at how much crime happens in D.C. and every city, everywhere, and not just the city, but the part of the city where lives. Sunmen make up more than 90% of murder suspects and victims in the District of Columbia. So they make up 40% of the population. Yeah, 40% Sunman population. So the proper response to this in a perfect world would be, oh my gosh, it's that bad? Wow, I didn't know that. We've got to do something about this. RIP to all the victims. And I hope the suspects, are punished to the fullest extent of the law.
Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth.
That would be the perfect response to this tweet. Let's see. So he comes with data. Decades of generational poverty that contribute to why those numbers are what they are. So, son-on-son crime on a culture of ethnicity is a racist take. Full stop.
To destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere. The time bomb is ticking. The time bomb is ticking. The time bomb is ticking.
What is happening right now is that millions more people are taking up the responsibility of bringing forward and getting in the middle of that portal and holding it open, right? And seeing that that's their role. I just remember when activism wasn't cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't cool to say,
Remember?
I'm an activist, or I'm an organizer. You know, now everybody activist, I'm an activist. And you're like, okay, you know. And, you know, at the same time,
who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation.
all the shit falls out, and you're like, ah, jackpot!
When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened.